Yeah, this is my first time. It's my first time in Australia, and it's awesome. I have a job. I get to travel now. My first job before I did this, I worked at KFC. Yeah, thank you. I worked at KFC for 3 weeks, which is the longest anyone has ever worked at a KFC. I have a pension, and what you're supposed to do when someone walks into a KFC is say, "Can I help you?" The KFC that I worked at was in New York City's Penn Station, and I worked the 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. At 1 o'clock in the morning in a fast food restaurant in a train station, "Can I help you?" is not good customer service. It's a promise you can't keep. This woman came in once, and she was at least 350 pounds. And she, by the way, I'm sorry, I know you guys use kilograms. She was like a bazillion kilograms. Or it's harder in the UK, because there they use like, that's right, there they use stones. So it had to be like, this woman came in, she was 4 boulders. And she gets to the front, and by the way, I didn't mind people who were unhappy who came into KFC. It's part of the job. I preferred that to people who pretended it was a real restaurant. People who would come in with the same expression, they're like, And they'd say things like, "What's the healthiest thing on the menu?" And I'd be like, "Leaving, that's the healthiest thing." This woman came in once, enormous, this lady. And like, it's unhappy, but I'm used to unhappy people. I preferred them, but this one, she gets to the counter and I said, "Can I help you?" She went, "I don't know, can you?" I was like, yeah, of course, we have chicken. And I was like, "What would you like to eat?" And she went, "I don't know." And I was like, "Well, what are you feeling?" Which is also the wrong question. Because she goes, "Well, I'm tired, and I'm homesick, and I miss my family. What do you think I should get, you little asshole?" And because I was like 17, and I had no other training and no other options, I was like, "If you miss your family, we have a family bucket you can get." I miss working at KFC a tiny bit. I miss the face-to-face. I cared about my customers. I treat my customers like I treat my ladies. They always come first. Or leave disappointed holding a bag of chicken. And it's weird because sometimes I get crappy customer service and I don't understand, because like, all of us have done bad jobs, and sometimes you meet an unhappy person. Like, I got into a fight this summer in a vegan cupcake shop in East London. I walked in, I was really sweaty, I'd been jogging, it was summer, and I said to the guy behind the counter, I said, "Could I have a glass of tap water, please?" And he said, "We only sell cupcakes." And I said, "My middle name is David." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were taking turns saying things that aren't relevant to the things that come before them." So they're like, "I'll buy a cupcake, but I'd like a free glass of tap water." And the guy said, "We only sell cupcakes. That's our philosophy." I was like, "I studied philosophy in college. No one ever mentioned cupcakes." The guy said, "We only sell cupcakes. Unless it's a cupcake or part of a cupcake." He explains they sell the top and the bottom of the cupcake individually, or the frosting as a shot. It's one of these places. He goes, "We only sell cupcakes. Unless it's a cupcake or part of a cupcake or a cupcake product, I can't help you." And he looks down like the conversation's done. The conversation's not done. I was like, "Excuse me, mate. What goes into a cupcake?" And the guy's like, "What?" said, what are the ingredients in a vegan cupcake when you can't use milk? And the guy said, sugar. And I said, what else? And the guy said, flour. And I said, what else? And the guy looked at me, and after a few seconds, he just went, cupcake. Have you ever been in a situation and you feel yourself crossing the line from victim to lunatic? I'm leaning against the counter in a vegan cupcake place in London, and I'm screaming at someone, I'm not leaving here until I get a glass of tap water. And the manager comes out. He's like, is there a problem? Like, you bet your butt there's a problem. Your employee. And he cuts me off and he goes, that's not an employee. And I was like, he doesn't work here? And he goes, he works here. We just don't call them employees. And then I was angry about a whole new thing. And I did that thing where you start talking so low because you cannot believe what the fuck is happening right in front of your face. I was like, what do you call them? Muffin artists or some shit like that? And the guy said, sir, that's a brand ambassador. And we don't have any water, so I suggest you. And I said, you don't have any water? He goes, no. I said, you only sell cupcakes? He said, we only have cupcakes. And I said really calmly, I'll light this whole place on fire and watch you try to put it out with just cupcake. Guys, thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the festival. I'm Edelman. I just spent a lot of time in England, and I like it there. I like being American in the UK, as long as I never have to see other Americans. Like, the first time I was there, I was waiting on this train platform in this part of London called Kingston, and these two girls stumbled onto the platform. And do you know how some people dress with no regard for weather? It's like January in London, they dress for like July in Mexico. It's like when they were getting ready that night. Someone was like, ladies, we're going to Kingston. And they were like, Jamaica? And they're coming down this platform, and they are so drunk, and they are so loud, and they are so clearly from New York City. And this British guy next to me, I don't know this guy. I've never met this guy. He looks at them, and then he looks at me, and he just goes, ugh. Americans. And I didn't know what to say to that, so I just went with, And they're coming down this platform, and I'm praying, like, please don't notice me. And they're hunched over from the cold, and they're saying things like, it's freezing outside. And they stop right in front of me, and for a second, I was like, fuck, they can smell it. And then I realized I'm wearing a New York University hoodie, and I'm like, oh. Because it's very Jurassic Park, because they're like, huh? And I'm like, clever girls. And one of them, very subtly, just goes, you're from New York City! We're from New York City! Where in New York are you from? And the British guy just goes, are you? And instead of handling it like an adult, I panicked, because everyone's staring at me. I'm not proud of this. I panicked, and I just went, I pretended to be deaf to get out of a conversation. And everyone backed off except for one of the girls who mistook, I'm sorry, I'm deaf, or hey, I can't hear you, yell at me. And she starts screaming, where are you from in New York? Where are you from? And then she figures out what's going on because her friend keeps tapping her. And she goes, oh, no way, you're deaf? And I nod, and she goes, I'm really sorry you're deaf! And I was offended as a fake deaf person. And they walk away, and that British guy is just so angry. You can see he's got like a vein right here, and he looks at them, and then he looks at me. Because in his mind, what's just happened is one jerk American has been a jerk to a nice deaf British boy. And he just goes, and I really wanted to say something, but I held my tongue. And then after a minute, he looks at me, and he just goes, I can't believe you got away with that. And I said to him, how did you know? And he went, mate, you have your headphones in.